Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Motivational Uplift. I'm your host, Abhiraj, creator of the Motivational Uplift blog, ExP blog, and their respective YouTube channels. If you're new here, this podcast is all about inspiration, motivation, and pushing ourselves to reach new heights. If you've been tuning in for a while, you know we talk a lot about mindset, perseverance, and the little things that can make a huge difference in our lives. Today we're tackling a topic that I think everyone can relate to. Just start. That one simple phrase holds a lot of weight. Whether you're thinking about starting a new project, a fitness journey, or even just a new habit, there's always that moment of hesitation. We get caught up in our thoughts, wondering if we're ready or if we're gonna fail. But the truth is, no one ever feels completely ready. And that's okay. The key is to just start. So that's what we're gonna dive into today. How to overcome that mental hurdle and take that first step toward whatever goal you're aiming for. Alright, let's dive into the big question. Why do we hesitate? Whether it's launching a new project, committing to a fitness routine, or simply starting something new, hesitation seems to creep in every time. And it doesn't matter how confident or capable we are, everyone experiences hesitation at some point. But why? What's stopping us from taking the first step? Let's break it down into a few common reasons. One of the biggest reasons why we hesitate is the fear of the unknown. When you start something new, you're stepping into unfamiliar territory. You don't know what challenges will come your way or how things will turn out. And as humans, we naturally crave certainty. We want to know the outcome before we even begin. But life just doesn't work that way. Think about it. How many times have you held off on doing something because you didn't know how it would turn out? Whether it's starting a new job, a new routine, or even launching a blog like I did with Motivational Uplift. We often get caught in this mental loop of what ifs. We ask ourselves questions like, what if I fail? Or what if people don't like it? Or even what if I'm not good enough? I remember when I first started long distance running, the idea of running a 5K was intimidating because I didn't know if my body could handle it. I didn't even know if I could push through the pain and exhaustion. But if I let that fear of the unknown control me, I would have never attempted my first race. The truth is, you'll never have all the answers before you begin. And that's okay. The key is to accept the uncertainty and trust that no matter what happens, you'll learn and grow from the experience. Another reason why we hesitate is because we're always stuck in our comfort zones. Let's be honest. Comfort zones feel safe, they're predictable. When you're in your comfort zone, you know exactly what to expect. But here's the thing, nothing new, exciting, or fulfilling happens in your comfort zone. Growth only happens when you step out of it. As a long distance runner, I'm constantly pushing my limits. Every race, every training session is a test of my endurance, both physically and mentally. And let me tell you, it's not comfortable. There are days when my legs feel heavy, my lungs burn, and my mind is telling me to stop. But I know that if I stay in my comfort zone, if I only run short, easy distances, I'll never improve. The same goes for anything in life. If you're too comfortable and you're not challenging yourself, you're not growing. Whether it's starting a business, creating content, or pursuing a passion, the moment you feel resistance is often the moment when growth is about to happen. I remember when I first started my blogs, Motivational Uplift and ExP, I was comfortable in the idea of just keeping my thoughts to myself. But sharing them with the world, that felt risky. I had to push myself to break out of my comfort zone. And now I'm so glad I did. So ask yourself, what comfort zone are you stuck in? What would happen if you stepped out of it? Let's talk about something that so many of us experience, perfectionism. This mindset can be crippling. How many times have you hesitated to start something because you want it to be perfect from the very beginning? It's a common feeling, but here's the reality. Perfection doesn't exist, especially when we're just starting out. Think about the times you've held back because you thought your effort wasn't good enough yet. Maybe it's a project at work, a personal goal, or a creative passion you've been working on. That little voice in your head says, it's not ready yet, it's not perfect. But here's the hard truth. If you wait for perfection, you'll be waiting forever. How often do we let the fear of imperfection stop us in our tracks? Whether it's starting a new routine, launching a blog, or pursuing a creative outlet, we get stuck refining, tweaking, and revisiting. We feel like we can't release it to the world unless it's flawless. But here's the important part. Nothing great starts out perfect. Every successful person you admire started with imperfect actions. No one gets it 100% right on their first try. And the truth is, those imperfections are what help you grow. They're part of the journey, part of the learning process. Think about something in your life that you've been holding off because you want it to be perfect. Now think about this. What would happen if you just get started? What would happen if you let go of the idea that everything has to be flawless and focused on getting better as you go? It's important to remind ourselves that progress comes from taking action, not waiting for the perfect conditions. Whether it's the first draft of a book, the first mile of a run, or the first blog post, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be done. And once you've taken that first step, you'll have a foundation to build on and improve. Another huge reason we hesitate to start is the fear of failure and judgment. We've all been there, worrying about what others might think, afraid that if we fail, people will criticize us. It's the fear that can keep us stuck, preventing us from even trying. But here's something we need to remember. Failure is part of success. It's not the opposite of success. It's a step along the way. Every single person who has achieved great things has faced failure at some point. The difference is they didn't let it stop them. They learned from it and kept moving forward. Now think about this in your own life. Have you ever stopped yourself from starting something because you were afraid of what others might say? Maybe you wanted to start a new project, launch a business, or even make a big life change. But you held back because of that fear of judgment. What would happen if you decided that other people's opinions don't define your worth? What if you embrace the idea that failure is part of the process? We're all human, and we're going to fail at some point. That's a fact. But the fear of failure shouldn't stop you from moving forward. You will have setbacks, and not everything will go according to plan. But that's where growth happens. Each failure is an opportunity to learn something new and come back stronger. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen if I fail? Will it ruin everything, or will it simply be a moment where you just learn and try again? Most of the time, it's the latter. And as the fear of judgment, those who matter will support you. And those who criticize, they're not the ones walking your path. Their opinions don't define you. Next up is something kind of funny. I love the name of this. Analysis paralysis. Have you ever spent so much time planning and researching that you never actually got around to doing? It's so common. This endless cycle of wanting to make the perfect plan, gather all the information, and know every detail before you take the first step. We overcomplicate things because we think that if we have the perfect strategy, the perfect approach, then everything will go smoothly. But here's the truth. No matter how much planning you do, you'll never have everything figured out. Life is unpredictable, circumstances change, new challenges arise, and often the best way to figure things out is by just starting. You don't need to know every detail to begin. Think about the times when you overthought a situation so much that it became exhausting. Maybe it was a work project, a big decision, or a personal goal. You went through every what-if scenario, planned everything down to the last detail, and still nothing happened. That's the paralysis of overthinking. The more we think about it, the more complicated it becomes. But action brings clarity. You learn by doing. Think about the things you've accomplished in life. Were they perfect from the start? Probably not. You adjusted, adapted, and grew as you went. Whether it was a new fitness goal, a creative project, or even starting a new career, the progress came from taking action, not overanalyzing every step. So if you've been stuck in that loop of overthinking, I encourage you to stop overcomplicating it and just start. Take the first step, even if it feels imperfect. Even if you don't have all the answers, you'll figure things out as you go. And each action will give you more clarity, more experience, and more confidence to keep moving forward. We've talked about why we hesitate, but now I want to focus on the power of starting. Taking that first step, no matter how small, can create a ripple effect that sets incredible things into motion. There's something magical about just starting, and it can transform your life in ways you might never expect. Let's break down a few reasons why starting is so powerful. Have you ever noticed how much easier things become once you've started? Action creates momentum. It's like pushing a snowball down a hill. At first, it takes effort to get it moving, but once it's rolling, it picks up speed and grows along the way. And that's true for just about anything in life. Think about a time when you were putting off something, maybe going to the gym, tackling a big project, or even starting a new habit. The hardest part was just getting started, right? You might have dreaded the idea of working out or sitting down to focus, but once you took that first step, everything became a little easier. You got into a groove, and before you knew it, you were making progress. That's the power of momentum. When you take action, even a small one, you create energy that propels you forward. You stop overthinking, stop worrying about all the steps ahead, and just focus on what's right in front of you. And that's where the magic happens. Next time you're struggling to get going, remind yourself that the first step is the hardest. But once you've taken it, momentum will start to build. And you'll find that it gets easier and easier. Whether it's a project you've been putting off, a fitness goal you've been neglecting, or a passion you want to pursue, just start. Let the momentum carry you forward. How many times have you held back from starting something because you weren't sure about the right way to do it? It's common to feel like you need all the answers before you begin, but here's the truth. Clarity doesn't come from sitting and thinking. It comes from doing. When you start taking action, even without a perfect plan, you begin to see the path more clearly. You learn from your experiences, adjust as you go, and get better with each step. How many of us wait until we feel like we're 100% ready? But the reality is, waiting for that perfect moment usually means we end up waiting forever. Think about something you might be hesitant to start. Maybe it's a goal, a hobby, or a business. You might be waiting for the perfect conditions, but the truth is, you won't find clarity until you dive in and start experimenting. It's like driving at night with your headlights on. You can only see a few feet in front of you, but as you move forward, more of the road reveals itself. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Start now and let clarity come as you take action. Every step you take will give you new insights, new ideas, and more confidence in your direction. We often think that confidence is something we need to have before we start something new. But the reality is, confidence is something we build by taking action. Think back to the last time you tried something new. Maybe you didn't feel confident at all at first. You probably questioned yourself, wondering if you had what it takes. But as you kept going, as you gained experience, you started to feel more comfortable, more capable, and more sure of yourself. Confidence doesn't magically appear. It comes from doing the work. The more you do, the more confident you become in your ability to succeed. So if you've been waiting to feel confident before starting something, you'll be waiting a long time. Confidence comes through action, not before it. If there's something you've been waiting to start, no matter what it is, take the first step today. You don't need to feel confident right now, just trust that confidence will come as you go. Every step you take builds your strength and shows you that you're capable of more. Something else is the fact that overcoming resistance builds strength. Let's face it, starting something new often comes with resistance. We feel it when we're about to embark on a big challenge, whether it's a workout, a creative project, or a new habit. There's that voice in your head saying, maybe tomorrow, or it's too hard, don't bother. But every time you push through that resistance, you're building strength. Not just physical or mental strength, but the kind of resilience that helps you tackle even bigger challenges in the future. Resistance is a sign that you're about to grow, that you're stepping out of your comfort zone. Think about a time when you've pushed past the initial resistance. Maybe it was the decision to wake up early for a workout, even though you didn't feel like it. Or maybe it was tackling a task you've been procrastinating on. How did you feel afterward? Probably pretty great, right? That's the power of overcoming resistance. It makes you stronger. So when you feel resistance creeping in, recognize it for what it is. It's a sign that you're about to grow. Push through and you'll come out on the other side stronger, more resilient, and more capable. We often think that success has to come in big, dramatic moments. But the truth is, success is built from small wins. Every small step forward is a victory, and each one adds up over time to create something much bigger. Think about a time when you set out to achieve something big. It wasn't about making one giant leap, was it? It was about taking small, consistent actions that led to your closer goal. Every workout, every blog post, every step forward is a small win that gets you closer to success. When you focus on those small wins, you stay motivated. You see progress, even if it's just a little bit at a time. And that keeps you going. Whether you're working towards a fitness goal, a business goal, or pursuing a passion, celebrate those small victories. They're the building blocks of your bigger success. The next thing we're going to talk about is something you probably heard a billion times. Action beats procrastination. We've all been there, waiting for the right moment to start. But the longer we wait, the harder it becomes. That's how procrastination works. It feeds on inaction. But the good news is, there's a simple way to beat procrastination. Take action, no matter how small. The moment you start, whether it's sending that email, writing that first sentence, or lacing up your running shoes, you break through the cycle of procrastination. It's like flipping a switch. Once you're in motion, it's much easier to keep going. So if there's something you've been putting off, just do something, anything to get started. Take that first step today, and you'll find that it becomes much easier to keep moving forward. We're gonna make a little interruption for our sponsor, Ourselves. We have rebranded and updated our website to make it look better for you when you're reading our blog. The best part is that we're going to release premium content such as courses, PDFs, and more on this site so you can learn more. If you're wondering why to check out this website instead of just listening to this, well, that's because our site and PDFs are all focused around science and how the brain works. We turned confusing brain science topics into actionable steps you could take to improve your life. And to celebrate the launching of our site, we're going to give away a free PDF you guys can download called a 16-page scientific overview of motivation. You can find this at payhip.com/motivational uplift. That is Motivational Uplift with M capital and U capital. So payhip.com/capital MOTIVATIONAL capital UPLIFT. I hope to see you guys there. Alright, back to the podcast. We've explored why we hesitate and the power of simply starting, but let's focus on something even more important now. What can you do to move forward today? Let's make this actionable, because talking about starting is one thing, but actually doing it, that's where the magic happens. These steps are here to help you take that first leap. No matter where you are in your journey, here's how you can shift from thinking to doing. Number 1, start small, but start today. One of the most common reasons people don't start is because the goal feels too big or overwhelming. If you've ever thought, I'll start when I have more time, or I'll start when I'm ready, that's exactly the kind of thinking that keeps you stuck. Here's the truth. You don't need to be fully prepared or have everything figured out to begin. Start small, really small if you want, but start today. You want to get in shape? Don't wait until you can commit to an hour-long workout. Just do 10 minutes today. Thinking about writing a book or starting a blog? Don't worry about writing chapters or articles right now. Just sit down and write for 5 minutes. The idea is to start in the smallest way possible, because even the smallest action creates momentum. Thinking about how you feel when you finally do something you've been putting off. It feels freeing, right? That tiny step, no matter how small, gives you a sense of accomplishment. And that sense of accomplishment builds motivation, which makes the next step easier. So whatever it is, getting fit, starting a side hustle, learning a new skill, take that first step today. You don't need a big, complicated plan. Just start with something that feels manageable and do it now. Number 2, break down big goals into smaller, actionable steps. Big dreams can feel paralyzing because they seem so far away. But you know what? Every huge goal is made up of small, bite-sized tasks. Think about it this way. Nobody runs a marathon all at once. You start by running a single mile, then 2, then 3, and before you know it, you're at 26.2. If there's a big goal you've been putting off, break it down. Want to start a business? Don't worry about writing a full business plan on day 1. Instead, pick one small thing you can do. Maybe that's brainstorming a name for your business or setting up a simple website. The same goes for personal goals. If you want to learn a new language, focus on learning just a few new words each day. The key is to stop looking at your goals as massive, overwhelming tasks and start seeing them as a series of small, actionable steps. When you complete each small step, it gives you a sense of progression. And that's where real change starts to begin. Number 3, set a deadline for the first action. Here's where things get real. Set a deadline. Without a deadline, there's no urgency. There's nothing pushing you to take action. And that makes it easy to keep postponing things. But when you give yourself a firm date to complete your first action, everything shifts. Let's say you've been wanting to work out more. Set a deadline. I'm going to do my first 10-minute workout by tomorrow morning. If you're thinking of starting a blog, set a date to write and publish your first post, even if it's just a paragraph, by the end of this week. By setting deadlines, you take away the excuse of someday and you make it real. And once you meet that first deadline, even if it's a small one, you'll find it easier to keep going because now you've taken action. So what's one thing you can commit to starting in the next 24 hours? Set that date and hold yourself to it. Number 4, let go of perfectionism. Perfectionism is the enemy of progress. If you're holding off because you feel like you need everything to be perfect before you start, know this. Perfect doesn't exist, especially when you're doing something for the first time. Think about it. No one's first draft is perfect. No one's first workout is flawless. And no one's first attempt at anything goes 100% smoothly. That's not how growth works. The most successful people didn't wait until they had it all figured out. They just started, made mistakes, and learned along the way. So if you've been holding yourself back because you're worried about not being perfect, it's time to let that go. Give yourself permission to be a beginner. Your first steps don't need to be flawless. They just need to happen. Progress comes from doing, not from waiting until everything feels right. Number 5, create accountability. Having someone to hold you accountable can make all the difference. It could be a friend, a family member, or even a community you're part of. When you share your goals with others, you create a sense of responsibility to follow through. If you're planning to start something, tell someone about it. Post it on social media, text a friend, or join a group where others are working towards similar goals. Once you've made your intention public, you'll feel more motivated to take action because now it's not just about letting yourself down. You've got someone else rooting for you. And accountability doesn't always have to come from other people. You can hold yourself accountable by tracking your progress. Maybe that's keeping a journal, marking an X on your calendar for every day you take an action, or using an app to track your goals. However you do it, accountability gives you that extra push when motivation starts to go away. Number 6, focus on the process, not just the result. One of the best ways to keep going once you've started is to shift your focus from the outcome to the process. We often get caught up in the end goal, whether it's losing weight, writing a book, or building a business. But focusing only on the result can make the journey feel long and daunting. Instead, try to find joy in the process itself. Celebrate the small victories along the way. If you're working on your fitness, celebrate each workout, and not just a number on the scale. If you're starting a new creative process, take pride in the progress you're making, even if the end result isn't here yet. When you start focusing on the process, it takes the pressure off the outcome and allows you to enjoy the journey. It's about the growth, the learning, the progress you're making every day, not just the finish line. Number 7, visualize what happens if you start today. Here's a powerful tool to help you take that first step. Visualize the benefits of starting. Close your eyes and imagine your life could change if you start today. What doors will open? What progress will you make? How will you feel a month from now if you take that first action today? Visualization helps you shift your mindset from fear and hesitation to excitement and possibility. Imagine how confident you'll feel after taking that first step. Picture the moment you'll build, the progress you'll see, and the satisfaction of knowing you've moved beyond hesitation. Now think about the alternative. What happens if you don't start? How will you feel a month from now if you're still in the same place, still waiting for the right time? Visualizing both the positive outcomes of starting and the consequences of not starting can give you the nudge you need to take action. If you feel like all those 7 steps would be too hard to remember, don't worry. I've created a PDF with all of these steps on it. If you'd like to download it, you can get 100% free on payhip.com/motivational-uplift. The M for motivational is capital and the U for uplift is capital. By using the coupon code 7tips for free. That's all caps, 7 tips for free. While I've provided a discount code for those who want it, if you're able to and want to support the growth of this podcast, consider skipping the code at checkout. Your full purchase goes directly to creating more motivational content, improving the quality of what I share, and helping this community thrive. Of course, the choice is yours. Any support in any form means the world to me. The key takeaway here is simple. Just start. No matter how small the first step is, it's still a step forward. Break your goal down, set a deadline, let go of perfection, and create accountability. Don't get stuck waiting for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. The magic happens when you start, no matter how imperfect or messy that beginning may be. So, what's one thing you've been putting off? What small step can you take today? I challenge you to make that move, however small it may be, and see where it takes you. Trust me, you'll be amazed at how powerful just starting can be. If today's episode was helpful for you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need a little extra push to start something in their life. And don't forget to subscribe to the Motivational Uplift podcast so you never miss an episode. You can also check out the Motivational Uplift blog and my YouTube channel for more inspiration and motivation.